document that they say links then Vice President Joe Biden to a bribery scheme with a foreign national. If the panel votes to hold Wray in contempt, the measure would next head to the full House, where Republicans have a slim majority. Stocks continue to trade mixed on Wall Street. The Dow down 123 points, the Nasdaq Composite up 11. This is NPR News.
Thanks for spending time with NPR. The latest news and your favorite shows are right here. This is NPR.
From NPR and WBUR, I'm Scott Tong in Washington, D.C.
I'm Robin Young in Boston. It's here and now. And hundreds of Ukrainians are fleeing floodwaters after the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam, which is part of a hydroelectric power plant and had a crucial role in southern Ukraine, much of which is now occupied by Russia. Moscow and Kyiv are each accusing the other of that breach. The Washington Post's Sam Schmidt joins us now from Kyiv. Sam, we saw a video earlier today of a huge plume of water in what appeared to be an explosion, but we're understanding that we still don't know what that was.
Right. We're still not sure what prompted the explosion and who was responsible, but we understand there was a blast inside the Kakhovka hydroelectric power plant early this morning that caused quite a bit of damage to the dam and sent water gushing toward dozens of communities, including some in occupied Russian territories and some on the Ukrainian side.
Yeah, and there are now reports, CNN in particular, that the dam might have been damaged days before, so this could have been something that happened because there was damage to the dam. But either way, each side accusing the other. Why would Kyiv want to do this, Ukraine, and why would Russia want to do this?
Right. I mean, basically, this is happening as Ukraine is stepping up its offensive operations on the Eastern Front in what is expected to be the early stages of this long-anticipated counteroffensive. Ukraine is accusing Russia of trying to basically
merge onto I-280 South
by causing this attack. That Russia is trying to accuse Ukraine of quote-unquote deliberate sabotage that they say is because they haven't been able to achieve their goals in the counteroffensive. But it is a lot of pointing blame and still very little clarity on what prompted this. But we do know that it's causing a major crisis on both sides of the river.
Well, talk more about that. The dam was in the Russia-occupied...
In 2.9 miles, exit left to merge onto US 101 South towards San Jose.
Just not being evacuated, but what will be the impact of that evacuation?
Right, at least 1,000 people have been evacuated from Ukrainian held areas. The closest town to the dam, the town of Kakhovka, has reported rising waters that have flooded a zoo, a recreation area, residential areas, and it's also happening in an area where there has been quite a bit of shelling. And so on the Ukraine side, in Kherson, there's been reports of shelling that has wounded a police officer, 2 policemen wounded by shrapnel during evacuation of the city. So it's coming in particular a chaotic place where there's fighting on both sides of the river, and it is also creating an ecological disaster. We understand that hundreds of tons of oil have poured into the river. It's also affecting the water supply.
In 2 miles, exit left to merge onto US 101 South towards San Jose.
Both the Ukraine side and the Russian side.
Well, UN experts say the collapse doesn't now pose an immediate threat to the Zaporizhzhia power plant. That plant is just upstream from the dam. But are people thinking about other long-term implications?
Yes, I mean, this could continue. The water could continue to flood these communities, and it's unclear exactly what this is going to mean
left 2 lanes to exit left to merge onto US 101 South towards San Jose. Exit left.
Talked about as a potential site that was counteroffensive that would provide a land bridge for Ukraine. Talking to some military analysts, that particular front.
In 2.4 miles, take exit 426 onto Sierra Point Parkway. In 2 miles, take exit 426 onto Sierra Point Parkway.
Success of Donald Trump as presidency and his continued support is rooted in the electorate of the GOP. And I think there have been shifts on a number of issues, distrust in government, perceptions of the FBI, immigration, and more, that are the reason that Trump is popular. And so for a candidate who doesn't represent these views to do well is going to be very difficult. It's more about when will the party change as opposed to the fate of just Donald Trump.
So just to make sure I understand, you're suggesting that Trump understands or maybe has aligned himself with Republican voters rather than leading or shaping them.
I think that's exactly right. I think that back in 2015 and 16, he had his finger on the pulse of how the party would change in the 21st century, and he exploited that. He capitalized on that. He did the same as president, and he continues to do that to this day. So I don't think we're imagining a huge disconnect between the Republican Party broadly and Donald Trump. He has a real accurate understanding of why he
Use the right lane to take exit 426 onto Sierra Point Parkway.
Evolution of civil war, Jim Brown stated in an article, are the bookshelves for violence and force. How do you explain how it got to this?
Well, I think those analysts are pretty accurate. In itself,
Take the exit, then turn right onto Lagoon Road.
and this has been shown again and again, in many of those populations, there's a lot of anger and hostility toward some of the big changes that we
At the
see
stop sign,
taking
use the right lane to turn onto Lagoon Road.
the way that immigration has changed local communities, to questions of sexuality, to ongoing distrust of government, which has been a theme of Republican politics since Ronald Reagan. These ideas are very rooted in these constituencies, and so politicians play to the electorate that will elect them. And I
Turn right.
Starting route to 99 South Hill Drive.
As a
At
historian,
the stop sign,
Julie,
use the right lane to turn right.
at times when parties have
At the next stop sign, turn left.
At the next stop sign, turn left.
and how it changed compared to, say, what it was in the 40s.
Yeah, I mean, through much of the first half of the 20th century, Southern Democrats really dominated the Democratic Party really through the 1970s. And that meant that even as more and more Democrats started to shift toward embracing civil rights, calling on the party to
At the stop sign,
At the
turn
stop
left
sign,
onto Tunnel Avenue.
Onto Tunnel Avenue.
coalition of Southerners kept saying no. They fought tooth and nail, and ultimately what happened was that those Southern voters moved to the Republican Party in large part as a backlash to civil rights legislation, and the Democratic Party became more liberal. But until that time, Southerners really defined what the party was about, and it was impossible for any single politician to change that on their own.
And meantime, on the Republican side, once upon a time, there were a number of Northeastern Republicans. How did the GOP change?
I mean, it's kind of amazing if you study the history in the 50s and 60s.
Turn right onto Bayshore Boulevard, then turn left onto Valley Drive.
Onto Valley Drive.
Presence in the party, I think very liberal on issues like civil rights. And there's a great moment, a really interesting moment in 1964 when Senator Barry Goldwater is the Republican nominee. And at the convention, he makes this blistering speech calling for Republicans to be more conservative, to be more right-wing. And the delegates boo and hiss at Nelson Rockefeller, who until that time had really been a major voice in the party. And over the next few decades, those liberal Northeastern Republicans just vanish, and the party moves to the South and becomes more conservative.
That's Princeton historian Julian Zelizer. Thank you.
Thanks.
You're listening to Here and Now.
At the light, use the left 2 lanes to turn onto Valley Drive.
To Valley Drive.
Driving in LA, filmmaker Nardeep Kurmi had a moment of inspiration.
You know, I love trying new food, and I started seeing these Indian-Mexican hybrid restaurants in Los Angeles.
I'm Ari Shapiro. How those restaurants inspired his new film about a slice of the immigrant experience, Land of Gold, on All Things Considered from NPR News.
At the next light, turn left.
Next light, turn left.
Governor Chris Christie is set to launch his campaign for the White House in New Hampshire tonight. This is Christie's second bid for the White House. He joins a growing number of GOP candidates running for president. This comes a day before former Vice President Mike Pence officially enters the race. A major dam in southern Ukraine has collapsed, triggering floods, endangering crops, and forcing evacuations. The dam supplies water for much of southeastern Ukraine. Kyiv and
At the light, turn left onto South Hill Drive, then keep right.
Then keep right.
Jr. has settled accusations that he raped a woman a decade ago. The civil lawsuit was set to start today. The accuser was seeking $6 million in damages. Both sides declined to comment on the settlement. You're listening to Here and Now.
Keep right onto South Hill Drive.
Onto South Hill Drive.
In 900 feet, turn left.
Turn left.
Turn left. Then the destination is on your left.
Destination is on your left.
Arrived.
Arrived.